Those are deluxe.
These are deluxe cookies. Hi, I'm Yewande Komolafe, and today I'm making a malt chocolate and marshmallow sandwich cookie. 2 layers of a soft chocolate malt cookie, a bouncy marshmallow center, and a topping of chocolate ganache. So you're getting a bunch of different textures and flavors, and I think they all play well together. So in creating these cookies, the inspiration behind it was I can't go to Nigeria right now. And so I've been trying to concentrate on the things that I really love about the country and the place where I'm from. One of those things is malt chocolate. These are a very particular part of my childhood. Street vendors sold these candies called Milo. I actually have some, I'm gonna show you some. It's these little malt chocolate cubes. And this is something that you can get at a street vendor, and you open it up and it's like a little malt chocolate ball. And it tastes like hot chocolate, really. And so in creating these cookies, I was like, what are the things that I enjoy about Nigeria? What are the things that like make me nostalgic about being there? And malt chocolate is one of them. And so I created a cookie that tastes like it and added some marshmallow for like some nice bouncy contrast. So the first step to making this cookie is the cookie dough. Holidays this year are a little different. We're not really going anywhere. We're not having people over. I'm gonna be making things to send to people. I think that's how I'm celebrating the holidays this year. As much as possible, I want to send out joy to people, if that makes sense. So while that's going, I have my dry ingredients in here. So you can see that the brown sugar and butter are lighter in color. So I scrape down the bowl and add in my dry ingredients. So the dough's kind of crumbly. I scrape down the edges. And at this point, I'm gonna pour it onto a strip of plastic wrap and refrigerate it. So I have my chilled dough. It's pretty firm. Unwrap it, put it between 2 sheets of parchment and roll it out. You can also just flour your surface and roll it out right on the surface, but I prefer to do it on sheets of parchment. It's less interruption to the dough, is how I think of it. And I'm not going for any shape in particular. Whatever shape it ends up in is what I'm gonna use. Let's see what we have here. Great. And this piece of parchment is gonna go right on your baking sheet. So how I like to punch these out is dip it in my flour, tap the cutter so there's not excess flour on it, and then push down. So that was one with excess flour on it, and you could see it like got a bunch of flour on the dough, which doesn't need to be the case. Okay. I love a good offset spatula. And that's what you want. At this point, I have cookie dough scraps, which I'm going to mush together again and re-roll into another 1/4 inch flat piece and punch out circles again. So this is sort of like the dough that keeps giving. So the next step is to make my ganache, which is a simple, I'll call it an emulsion of chocolate and heavy cream. Heating up the cream to a point where it just begins to simmer. And then you take that hot cream and pour it over your chocolate pieces. For this recipe, I think it works really well to use a bittersweet chocolate because all the other elements of the dessert are sweet. You know, you want a nice balance of like sweet and salty and bitter. All of those things play well together. At this point, I'm gonna let my ganache hang out while I finish the marshmallow topping. So I'm gonna go ahead and make the marshmallow. So the marshmallow topping is basically like a whipped bloomed gelatin with sugar syrup added in. The sugar syrup is made from honey and granulated sugar that's cooked to 240 degrees. So my sugar syrup is going. I'm going to go ahead and bloom the gelatin because the gelatin comes as a dried powder. This is what it looks like. While you're whipping the gelatin and the sugar syrup, there's this like transformation that happens where it starts to absorb all the air that you're whipping in and it becomes like foamy and just thick. It's a really cool process to watch and see happen because you see the transformation happening as you whip air into it. Ooh, that was really loud. This is the stiffness you want. It's more soft peaks. And at this point, I'm gonna move the marshmallow mixture to my piping bag, get my cookies set up and pipe on the cookies. So I have half of my cookies flipped and half as the top. Once you put the marshmallow topping down, you should wait for about 2 to 3 minutes just to give it some time to like set a little bit and then put the tops on. I don't pipe it all the way to the edge because when you put the second cookie on it, it's gonna spread. And be a little generous with the filling. So you want it to set just enough to hold its shape, but also stick. And so I'm gonna go ahead and like put lids on all of these and then move to the ganache. So I've prepared 2 different consistencies of ganache to just show you that if your ganache is much cooler, it's gonna be a bit solid, and if it's warmer, it'll be liquid. And either way, it's still gonna work. The pourable ganache is pretty easy. Pour the ganache over the cookies and just spread it till it sort of like drips down the edge. The spreadable ones, you have to hold the cookie down while you spread. So put about a tablespoon amount of the ganache on top of the cookie and spread it with an offset spatula. So it's a fun holiday accent. I don't know if you can see it shiny. I'm gonna put some gold leaf on the surface of these cookies. So I'm just gonna pick up a little piece and apply it to the surface of the cookie. Oh, that's pretty cool. It's really super delicate, also just really sticky. Another thing that you could do is add some salt to the finished cookie, to like the top of the finished cookie if you want that. You could really dress it up however you want. This is one of the ones that I poured ganache over. That's really good. I love the cross section because you could see sort of like all the different layers. It tastes a little bit like a hot chocolate, which is what I wanted it to taste like. You can actually bite through it without like squishing everything out. So however you're celebrating this year, I hope that you give this a go. It's a really nice, fun project to take on and have a happy time doing it too. I think that's what's important. Just have a happy time doing it. It's a good cookie.